Oh my goodness, this next guest, she really touched my soul. I am so blessed that God brought her to the Giant Builders.
Building spirituality, family, health, and business. This is the Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.
All right, welcome Giant Builders to today's guest is a very special lady. It's Nancy Berggren. Hey Nancy, how are you?
Good morning, Lois. I think I'm coming off of a buzz of just some wonderful birthday times and family times, and I'm just aglow. I feel a glow today.
Oh, that's very wonderful. Well, what do you do?
Oh, what do I do? Well, I'm 92 years old. I just published my second book, To Hell with Aging, and that's me on the skateboard there. Somebody put that up there. And so I published that last year for my 91st birthday. And I've been a professional actress all my life, but I had plans and God laughed because I got put in the hospital quite a bit in 2020. So I wasn't able to do anything for a long time, and I'll talk more about that later. But as the gods would have it, they shined on me, and I just finished shooting 3 days on the new Weezer film.
Whoa.
And there are a lot of Weezer fans. I mean, I wasn't familiar with them. I am now, but I wasn't at the time. And they were huge in the 90s, rock and roll band, huge in the 90s. So I'm so excited. After 3 years of doing zip in that area, I've been busy in other areas, but in that area, I got to be in a feature film, and I'm so excited and beyond grateful. I'm so grateful.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, well, who's been your favorite actor or actress to work with?
Oh, well, I worked with Jim Carrey, but I'll tell you, Zach Galifianakis was the most fun. We did Baskets. I did 3 episodes on Baskets, and a few years back. And he had a terrible allergy the day that I shot with him, and he had this big box of Kleenex sitting in the middle of the table, and he was just blowing. His eyes were running. He was miserable, but it was okay because he was playing this grouchy character, so that worked fine. But it was a comedy, very fun, light thing. And at the end of the shoot, and we were wrapped for that day, I started to walk down the hallway toward my dressing room, and he came running after me and saying, "Oh, stop. I just wanted to tell you, I just loved working with your energy. It was just so bright and light and just made my day." I was just, I'm saying putting words in his mouth, but he was just gracious. And I have learned in my life, in this business in particular, that the bigger they are, the kinder and more generous they are and I'm talking about stars and, people of that ilk, just so generous and eager to help, eager to support and acknowledge. And Jim Carrey did the same thing. He was in his little cart with all of his entourage, zooming off. He says, "No, no, no, wait. And he did the same thing.
Oh, that's so cool.
So yeah, it's really dear.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Wow. Well, so I'm curious, how do you get up every morning and have so much energy to still be acting? And I think I read that you still dance and
I
do all
do.
these things. And you said you're 92. That's just, I mean, I'm 63 and I just have a hard time getting up some mornings.
I do too. And I have to tell people because, I don't run outside or go on TV or do a TikTok when I'm having a bad day, or work 2 days, 1 week on the film, and then the next 2 days I did nothing. I was, I'm puttered around the house, but I was basically a couch potato for 2 days. So that I don't put that on TikTok. So the energy, is just an amazing thing to me. Lois, I don't know where it came from because um, following 4 visits to the hospital in about 6 weeks or maybe 8 weeks, I wound up on the couch. And as you can probably tell, that's not my favorite position. So, I couldn't do anything that I loved. I mean, I love my patio. That's my happy place. I go out and play. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't audition. I couldn't work. When they told me in the hospital what was going on, I mean, it was just heart and lungs. I mean, no big deal, just heart and lungs. That's all.
No big deal.
No big deal, just heart and
There's the
lungs.
two
I
main
went,
things that keep
well,
your body running.
wow. I went, well, obviously, I'm not working anymore because this body can't do it. And I never thought I would be able to say that because I've been acting since I was 2.5. But so I was on the couch and I wasn't liking it. I was hating it a whole bunch. And that went on for a long, long time. And I'd wake up in the morning and I'd go, oh, great, I'm back. She's back. And by noon, I'd be flat out again. And it's because I had COVID at the same time. So I had long COVID. And I mean, it's just like all this nonsense, But so I started writing. I could do that. I could write. And I started doing TikToks. I couldn't audition and do TV, which I love TV. Couldn't do that. I like TV because it's fast. It's like theater. It's live. It's like theater. I like that, especially 3 camera or like that kind of stuff. But anyway, so it's on the couch and I couldn't do anything. So the more I hated it, the more it kind of kept going on and on and on. And I had to sit down and have a good talk with myself and go, okay, I got to figure this out or this damn thing's going to kill me. That's what I said. So I figured out that I had to start loving my body, Lois, just the way it was. I couldn't wait for it to get better and then start loving it. I had to love it the way it was. And what I figured out is that it was working really, really hard to try to heal whatever was going on in me that I couldn't really see, or put my finger on. But and I also know that my body knows how to heal itself because it's proven that to me over and over and over again. And it's really a miracle. I have this dear friend of mine who's also an quite well-known actress. She's even older than I am in an artist's home at this time. And she said, honey, put your hand on that part and tell it that you love it. And I thought, oh my goodness, this heart has done a really good job. So that was was like 89, 88? Done it for about 89 years. I never said thank you. So I started thanking my body. And the more I thanked it, the better I started to get. Because what I think, Lois, if we could agree, everything's energy, everything. From the rocks to the galaxies to the snail crawling on everything's energy. So where I put my energy, I'm pouring my life force into, and it's going to reflect that back to me. It's going to go, oh, that's what you want. Oh, here's some more of that. So if I'm loving it or me or you or life, it's going to tend to reflect some of that loving energy back to me. But if I'm going, you suck, it's really a rotten day and I don't know why I even bothered to get up today. And today looks horrible. I'm probably going to get some of that reflected back to me in some way. And I think we don't recognize it because it doesn't come back in the same form. It comes back from up here or over there or under there. And we go, wow, I didn't ask for that. Kind of maybe we did.
Well, yeah,
So,
I can see that where if we're not really helping ourselves and talking to ourselves and boosting ourselves up, then yeah, we're going to end up really, really down, aren't we?
yeah.
Mm.
And if you've noticed, there's plenty to get down about in these days today. There really is. I have a dear friend who's been my prayer partner for over 25 years. And probably 10, 15 years ago, she sent me a little statement that she wrote, which was, in the midst of chaos or confusion, I remind myself that I live in a beneficial universe which conspires continuously on my behalf.
Oh, that's very
On my
sweet.
behalf. So that speaks to whether we believe that we live in a friendly universe or a tough, got to fight your way and get it before they get it and get mine and got to win and put you down and all that,
Mhm.
and I noticed that the other thing I came out of it about my body is that my body's going to go ahead and do whatever my body's going to do. My choice is, how am I going to respond to it?
Mhm.
So during this yucky period, which I did not put on TikTok, thank God, I started breaking out in my back.
Oh.
Big sores, bleeding, itching,
Mm.
oozing. It bothered me at night. Oh gosh, I was just like, you know, couldn't stand it. It was making me crazy. And then there again, the more I fussed about it let me tell you about how awful it is. I didn't sleep last night because the more I pour my energy into that,
Mm.
then life goes, oh, we want more of that. Okay, here's some more of that. So when I did that, it just kept getting worse. So there again, I had to apply to myself to love this. And once I started doing that, but it took me a few months to figure it out. And I'd already done, the dermatologists and all that. And they give you 25 different things and nothing works. Because that's really all up here. I had to figure out it's all up here. And I had to change my mind. And I think that's the biggest gift we've ever been given, Lois, is the power to choose.
Oh,
And
that's
I'm
really
so
nice.
glad that we chose to be together this
Yeah,
morning.
me too. Well, tell me about your book.
To hell with aging. Um, I was writing another book at the time. I had about 20 chapters done. And but I wanted to, I'd written another book previous called Life is a Game and You Can Play It. And that was in like 2008, I think, that one. And that one's been translated into Russian and is being translated into Ukrainian also. But I wanted to be out there in the world. And I think that there is what's the word I want? Uh, with senior citizens, there's desperation and there's loneliness, and then we get depressed and we don't know what to do about it, and we think it's over and all that. I just think it's an epidemic of loneliness with our senior population, and I think I wrote this because there are so many things that we can do to help ourselves. And just like me sitting on that couch or laying on that couch, I had to figure it out, by myself. But there's a chapter in here. This spirit just downloaded this to me one day because I was grousing about the things I couldn't do. And this little thought floated into my head. Well, if you can't dance, could you take a nap? Or if you can't take a nap, could you go for a walk? If you can't go for a walk, could you bake cookies? If you can't bake cookies, could you play a harmonica? You can't play harmonica, could you learn to knit? And I've got it just kept going. It was so fun. It just kept going and going and going and going. And it just said to me that there again, we're back at choice.
Mm.
I can choose to sit on the couch and feel sorry for myself. Or another really good thing to do, a really good trick to do, is we all know people who are struggling way more than we are. Is call them up and lift them up. Give them some of your own energy, enthusiasm, love, appreciation. Appreciation is so big, so important.
Mm.
And the interesting part, the secret of it is that when I'm generating this loving consciousness toward you, because you're in a hard place right now. And I really want to encourage you and lift you up. The place that that energy gets created is in here. So when my heart is in lifting you up, I'm lifting myself up at the same time, but I can't do it the other way around. I can't go, well, first I'll get me feeling better, then I'll go talk to Lois. We can't wait. We just have to do what we're guided to do. You know, one day, I'm gonna tell this just popped in my mind. Oh my, I love how spirit gives you something. So I try to tune in. I'm also a non-denominational minister. I had a spiritual center in Fallbrook for 10 years. I was a senior minister with my husband. And when he passed away, took me a while, but I finally realized I needed to come back here. But so I really try to listen to spirit and let it my inner voice, or whatever we want to call it, and follow it as much as I can. So I'd had a dear friend for many years, dear, close heart friend, and we had a falling apart, and it was very painful, and went on for many years, and was very hurtful. And we passed a couple of times, and it was always icy, very icy. And I was walking past my landline in the kitchen, and I heard call so and so. And I knew if I didn't pick up the phone and do it in that instant, I wouldn't have the courage to do it. So I picked it up. And it was kind of icy. I got to admit, it was pretty icy. And Lois, I wanted to run away. I did not want to be dissed again. I did not want to go down that hurtful path again. But I didn't do that. I stayed. And we got past it, and we had like 25-minute conversation about my kids and what she's doing, her new book and her tour and what I was up to and all that. I mean, it must have been almost half hour. A week later, I got a phone call from a mutual friend of ours. She died. 4 or 5 days after that conversation, she died. And if I hadn't listened, that makes me cry. If I had not listened, I would have missed that opportunity to heal that. And later on, I thought maybe it was more for her than for me. So she'd feel able to let go and move on and let go of all that hurt, physical, and that she was going through that none of us knew about because she was just a private person and didn't want anybody to know. I missed that opportunity. So I really try to listen and pay attention and follow it as best I can. To my understanding, I don't always get it. And I tell it when I ask for something. I said, don't give it to me in metaphors. I'm not good with metaphors. You know me. I want it simple and plain so I can get it. Talk English. So I can get it. You know? How about you, Lois? Don't you always get downloads and guides and how you came to do all this work that you
yeah.
give to the world?
Oh,
So
yeah.
tell me about that.
Well, it's the times when I need to lean on God the most is when things are hitting me or weighing me down. It's very important to me to have that relationship and that stone to lean on when things are hitting rough.
I don't know where else there is to go when we exhaust all of our human, you know, ideas and whatever. There's nowhere else to go.
So what are your secrets to not getting caught up in loneliness?
When I moved to Santa Clarita, it was actually on my drive up for the last time. I was finally moving into my home. And, that's chaos. Selling our family home, which was so emotional, so difficult. And finding our place, all that. It's driving up, I realized I don't know anybody in Santa Clarita except my son, and they work, and they've got 4 kids. and they don't, and they're across the valley and they're not. So I got to figure out what to do with me. So I immediately went to our community college and signed up because I'm a singer, dancer, actor. I signed up for choir and improv and acting classes and stuff, and immediately got into a production and started with that. But lately, I'm doing something different. I live in a townhouse development. Here's about 85 units. I've been here 20 years, Lois. And the people next door were my best friends, but they moved away.
Okay.
So now I'm making an effort to make friends with the people in my community that live here with me. So it takes effort. We have to make a decision. I had to make a decision that I was not going to sit in my house and stare at the four walls and go, oh, poor me, or whatever. And these two people in particular were always, everybody has dogs. When I wanted to buy this place, I wrote out an affirmation for what it would be like. And it was like it's full of light and warm and welcoming essence of love and generosity and all that. But the last sentence was, and it's surrounded by magnificent park-like grounds. So when I saw this place, rolling hills and big trees, and the little ones go rolling down the lawn like we always did, I went, this is it. This is it. So these people with their dogs, everybody has dogs, they're out there every day. So finally one day I went out, I said, hey, do I have to buy a dog to come out and be a part of this? They said, heck no, come down. So now I've met them. And that was about maybe 6 months ago. So my birthday was April 24th. So I met their dogs. Charlie's a big white fluffy muff. Not very, just a love. And their other dog. On my birthday on the 24th, I hear this knock on the door. And I open the door and it's them. It's Brandon and his wife. And they brought me a birthday present.
Aww.
I said, how did you know? And she said, well, you said last week that your birthday was going to be next Thursday or whatever it was. I was just and then when I walk a lot, I get out of the house a lot. That's key. We've got to get out of the house, go to the senior center. Oh my goodness. The senior center could keep you busy from morning until night. And the other one is, which I really like, which I discovered a few years ago, is Parks and Recreation. They have so many things. I take Latin dance on Wednesdays. I love Latin dancing. And I couldn't go. I kept reading everything, but I couldn't go because you had to have a partner. But through Parks and Recreation, you don't have to have a partner because everybody dances with everybody. They keep rotating, so you get to dance with everyone. So I've been doing this for maybe 15 years. And I love it. I love it. So much fun. So getting out of the house and getting engaged. And sometimes I find myself for a couple of days like, I don't want to use the word bored, but, not engaged in life. And I have to figure out what to do about that. It's up to me. I can sit here and in the four walls, or I can open my door. I just remembered this one. The first few years when I didn't really know anybody, I would go to Barnes and Noble and I would buy a little paperback novel and I'd sit in their little coffee place so I could be around living people that were having conversations. Because it was just awful being alone so much. It's just hard. Another trick is playing music in the house. Playing music in the background, something soft.
Yeah.
A lot of people have TV on all day. I don't particularly care for that, but I do like having music playing.
Oh, is there a particular type of music that you like?
Well, I grew up in Hawaii. I
Oh,
was in Hawaii for a few years and loved the music, loved the culture, loved the islands. I go back often, frequently. And I recently found a couple of Hawaiian stations, but do Pandora. There's a lot of choices you can make in there. And another thing I do that's really, I do TikToks.
That amazes me. I mean, I don't even do TikToks. I don't grasp like how to do them. And here you are, 93 on whipping it up on TikTok. I mean, I'm in awe. Now
Well,
I feel like I need to catch up with you.
uh, well, I didn't know how to do it in the first, and I went, oh, just like Zoom. But the more you do it, it's like anything else, it gets easier, and then now it's not a mystery anymore. It's now everybody's doing it, and it's not that big of a mystery. But the TikToks, and because of my book, I
Hmm.
just did all these crazy characters. I did like Mabel, and I did Country Guy, and I did this one that said she's she had it balanced on her head, and she's going down on your doobie, down on your doobie. And I'm thinking, what, what, what? I am downloading the information into my brain. Duh! I just do silly, silly, silly stuff, but it makes me giggle. Maybe give somebody else a giggle. And gosh, there's not enough to giggle about, Lois.
Yeah.
I think it's such an important time in life, and it's so important what each of us has to contribute every day, all of our thoughts, all of our energy, all of our emotions. And I want to be part of the solution instead of part of the other part.
Hmm.
And it's not easy. So one of the things I thought, if there could be like one thing that could make our lives better for sure, what would that one thing be? And I went, stop complaining and start praising. There's really more good things to think about and to be grateful for than there are, but it depends on where our focus is. Like I talked about earlier, where's my focus? There's plenty to look at and get upset about, but, or I can choose to be grateful. One day I was on the couch feeling sorry for myself, and I said, Nancy B, open your eyes, look around you, look how much you have to be grateful for. How dare you be ungrateful? But that when you're in a dark place, when you're in a hard place, it's easy to say when everything's going well, but it's not always easy, but we can always find something to be grateful for. So right now, Lois, what are you most grateful in this moment right now? What are you most grateful for?
I'm most grateful for my family.
That's
So, yeah, we moved from Indiana to North Carolina to be closer to them. So,
oh,
yeah, so that's just a really, because my oldest grandchild is 8. So, we often visit, they lived in Maui. And so, we would try to do a couple trips a year out there. But now it's like, I saw them yesterday and they're like, are we going to see you tomorrow? And I'm like, oh, yes.
how close are you driving
Well, it's
distance?
about 20 minutes.
Oh, see
Yeah.
that I would, yeah, my number one is family as well. I was
Hmm.
with them yesterday, and yeah, family's important. And I feel well, I don't want to, I mean, I know we all make choices and we're all here, living out our soul path, whatever that may be. And I don't even try to go to anybody else's because I can't figure out my own half the time. But I know not everyone has that.
Hmm.
And we have a big family, a really big family. And we work hard. When I say something about, that we all get along, one of my daughters will say, yes, and we've worked really hard at it.
Hmm.
We don't let things come up and feelings get hurt and things are said and so forth. But do you let it sit there, or do you figure out a way to go back and heal it? Ask for forgiveness, let it go. It's not because, every thought we think creates a chemical in our brain. Quantum physics is teaching this now. So, we're either creating endorphins and lightness of being, or we're creating the cortisol, that other nasty stuff that does bad stuff in our bodies. And stress is killing us as a nation.
That's very true.
We have to figure out a better way to live together, Lois.
Mm-hmm.
And being flexible is really important as we age, because I think that was my biggest problem. I wanted my life to go back to the way it was before. And every time I tried to get up and even think the thoughts, much less get out and actually do it, I'd get slammed back in the hospital again. 4 times. 4 times. And I was on a walker. And I went, okay, we're going to walk. And I'd have these fancy new ones with bells and whistles and place to put your coffee and place to put your purse, and you can turn around and sit down. No. Mine was the old kind with tennis balls on the front, on the front 2 things. So it goes. I went, I don't care. I went out and I started walking, and I could only go a couple houses. And I went, that's okay. And the next day, maybe I went 3 houses or 4 houses. Walking has been my savior, has been my saving.
Mm-hmm.
And years before that, when I had a back issue that wouldn't heal, somebody told me about the YMCA have water exercises for those things. And I went and did that. So there's help available, and people want to help, but they can't find us if we're behind a locked door. So I just, invite everybody along with me, especially as you've got your family and you're young, but it's unusual to find someone in their 80s, 70s, 80s, mid 70s to 80s, up 80, who are not alone. Most of us are widows, and we have to figure out how to make this work better. And being grateful is huge. And forgiveness is huge.
Well, I find you very inspiring because, like you said, a lot of people, it's kind of like when a lot of people talk about the next step of life, like, okay, what do you do once your kids go to college? Nobody talks about that. What do you do once your spouse passes away, or you're just, you're alone or whatever, I mean, not a lot of people get to hit 93. So it's kind of like, so what do you do? And so I find your story very inspiring as far as you don't have to just sit down and give up on life. There's so many things that you can do.
And I learned on the couch, I learned something. The more I move, the more I move. And the reverse is also true. The less I move, the less I move. It's kind of like sugar. I got off sugar about a month ago. And if I don't have it around me, I don't have it in the house now. So I don't think about it. But when I go out and other people have it, or I have some, then I notice the next day I want it again, So how do we take care of ourselves? How do we notice what is going to benefit these bodies? I want to do the best I can to support it as best I can with my understanding, whether it be food or whatever. But wow. Yeah, I don't know. Being grateful is just huge. It's just huge. Yeah. So and the less I move, the less I move. So, being a couch potato. So here's something about that having to do with muscles and exercise in the body as we age. Mm-hmm. I can tell you now from this end of the spectrum that it's easier to keep it, Lois, than it is to let it go and then try to get it back.
Okay.
I mean, all you have to do is lay in a hospital bed for 5 days or a week or whatever. The body atrophies those muscles go so fast. I mean, it takes years to build them up. And then it seems like overnight, they're like, what? Where did they go? It's like they were there yesterday. I'm sure they were. So whether it be dancing or pickleball. I'm not into pickleball. I think I'm past the pickleball stage.
Okay.
But a lot of people are into that, and it's wonderful exercise. Dancing is wonderful exercise. So if I have music on in the house and something comes on that I like, I just dance in my kitchen. And also there's a Zach. No, wait a minute. I want to say Galifianakis. That's not it. There's a Dr. Zach. I can't think of his last name now, who does a 4-minute exercise. So if you go to YouTube and you put 4-minute exercise into it, this guy, he's a doctor, he's an MD, very attractive, very attractive. And he explains, I know, he's so cute. But he explains from a scientific, from a medical standpoint, what's happening in your body when you're doing these things. And it's so quick. I mean, it's not even 4 minutes, it's more like 2 or 3. So now when I'm waiting for something to cook on the stove and I'm just kind of standing there, I'll go, okay, I'll do my 4-minute exercise. And I'm doing my arms and I'm doing some squats and I'm doing, I'm just standing there. I can do that if I choose to. I remember my mother in her 80s because she got a teacher certificate in the hula in Hawaii. And she was tall and graceful and shy and would never dance. We'd beg and beg and beg and beg. And finally, we'd get her up there to do a dance. But she would, in her 80s alone, she would put music on and dance. She said, if I can't get on my bike and pedal my bike, then I will just put music on and dance. The hula, which is very gentle. It's a very gentle dance. So there's just a lot of things that are available to us, but boy, it's sure easy to check out all the stuff that's not working right. Oh, one of the things that Rick Tamlin is one of my heroes and mentor. He's the author of The Bigger Game. He said, if something isn't working in your life, try something different. Instead of doing the same old thing and hoping to get a different result, try something different. I'm a creature of habit, so I always go to the same restaurants. So my daughter-in-law, if there's a new one in town, she's been there. So every time I go out with somebody, I go, let's find something new, something different, and not always do the same things. We have to be willing to change because life is changing so fast around us. And we can dig our heels in. And what do they say? Somebody said everything I let go of has my fingernail marks, scratches from hanging on. We have to let go and lighten up. I think lighten up is a good thing too.
So I'm curious, when you said that life goes so fast, if something popped in my head, what do you think has been one of the most life-changing involvements during your lifetime, as far as whether it's medical change or technical change? What do you think has been one of the biggest, like, things that changed your life as you were growing up?
I'm a Pearl Harbor survivor.
Oh,
I'm a Navy brat. I'm a Navy brat. My father was an officer in the Navy, and we were living in Pearl Harbor. I was 8 years old, and we had a 2-story house, which I thought was a castle. I'm sure it was made out of cement blocks, but I thought it was a castle at 8 years old. And we woke up on Sunday morning, and all this chaos was going on, and we watched the whole attack from our upstairs bathroom window. We were about 3 blocks from the water. And that was something, but the evacuation was worse because you're 5.5 days in the ocean with submarines under you that want to shoot you down and drown you in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
That was scary, scary, scary times.
Yeah.
So that was really, really, that was really scary. And I think, and it's interesting, my vision changed because I worked 3 months in a movie when I was 10 years old. So you have to have a physical to sign the contract. And my vision had gone. And the doctor said there was a lot you didn't want to see.
Oh.
So, I mean, it's just astounding how our emotions, the power that they have to make changes in our lives. Yeah, that was huge. And the war itself, we'd go to the stadium theater on Saturdays, and we had 25 cents to go to the movies, and they played all day. But they started with movie tone news. So it showed what the war was. And my dad was there for 4.5 years from the first day, and then he was in the Bay of Japan for the surrender. So from the first day to the last day, and I never knew what day someone might knock on the door with a telegram and tell me that my daddy wouldn't be coming home. So those were really, I mean, life-changing years. And at the same time, my mother took me to a Sunday school, and I met the most wonderful teacher. Her name was Margot Letts, and she brought us to her home, this fabulous home in Beverly Hills, and just opened our hearts to so much goodness and kindness and love. It's really sweet. And that was such a hard time. It was perfect because it helped to balance out the sorrow and the fears and the loss. And that's kind of where we're at now. There's a lot of sorrow and fear and loss. I got to get a drink. And that's why one of the chapters in the book is feeling sad, lonely, depressed, or scared. I didn't want to write anything negative, but you have to address it.
Yeah.
That's what you just said. We have to address it. It's something that we're all going to face at some point. And to stick our heads in the sand and pretend it isn't going to happen to us. And I know that the kids know, I mean, it's not about that, but none of us think we're ever going to get here, get crotchety and old and all that good stuff. But that's choice too. My dad stood up and sang at 90 years old, the night that he died. He stood up and sang in his community center, "Make the World Go Away." And like 6-8 hours later, he was gone. And also, I want to tell a little story about that same night. My brother and his wife lived all over the world. So they had an agreement with my mom and with our mom and dad, just the one brother. And that was that they would talk every Sunday night at 8 o'clock. So he calls, and dad had been in and out of the hospital and was having physical challenges and all that. When he was down, he was really down. But when he wasn't, he was up. He said, "So Dad, how you doing today?" He said, "100%, no complaints." And 8 hours later, he was gone. I want to live my life like that, Lois. And I'm not saying that it's easy, because it's not. But I think it's possible with people like you who bring some different viewpoints, points of view and opinions, and different people who view the world differently, and to open our eyes to the more that's available to us, that none of us are stuck with anything. We can change in any moment that we choose to. So don't you get teary on me now.
I know, you're going to make me cry.
I know. Well, I hurt my nose there a little bit too. But I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. I said to my youngest son, who struggled a lot in his early years, particularly in business and so forth, and I said, "I'm so grateful that I got to live long enough to see you be successful and come through all those hard, dark times." And life is just such a gift.
It is.
A wonderful gift.
We just need to, as you say, look at the appreciation of it. Nancy, you know what? God just told me we need to pray.
Yes, we do.
All right. Father, I just thank you so, so much for this opportunity to be with Nancy. Just her story, Lord, is just so uplifting. And just the fact that you brought her to us to share that story, and just to help us to know that there's so much life to us, and there's so much of a gift that we have to the world. And that we need to get out of ourselves and out of our self-pity, and to appreciate all the gifts and all the love that you share with us to share with others. And I just thank you for her wisdom, and for her opportunity to be with us here on the Giant Builders. Thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, my friend. I'm so happy to have met
Oh,
you, Lois. This is
I'm so
just,
happy to meet you too. I wish we were closer. I'd take you out to lunch.
I know. Bless you.
All right. Thanks, Giant Builders. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. This has been The Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.